One of my favorite things about Stardew Valley is the community. We all help each other out to better enjoy the game, everyone's very mature, not you, and we create tons of content so that even veterans of the game can play even more. In that regard, recently TheHaboo released the roguelike mod, which pushes the combat part of Stardew Valley to its limit. When he released the mod, he also started 3 competitions. First, the farthest floor reached. Second, the fastest completion time. These first 2 competitions ended on September 18th. And third, the first person to complete hard mode. And he had a prize for each category. $100 for the farthest floor and fastest completion, and $200 for completing hard mode first. I decided pretty much right away to give it the good old college try, so I went for the deepest floor. Before I start talking about my runs, if you want to debrief on pretty much the entire mod, I have a video where I went over it, just so you won't be lost. So, I pushed for the deepest floor I could. As you complete a loop of the game, which is 48 floors, the damage scales upwards. Not quite as fast as I expected it to, though. I kept going deeper and deeper until eventually I'd hit the 3-hour mark. These runs aren't short. I ended up finally dying in 1 hit at full HP due to the Jinx debuff, which lowers your defense by a lot. This was on floor 239. 3 hours. I held the top spot for a short while, but I got past, and passed again. Eventually, these floor numbers started spiraling out of control upwards, so I dropped it. It's hard to find 3 straight hours of time to dedicate to a run, and at this point, the runs are probably approaching 4 hours. So I pivot to trying the speedrun category. I believe in the end, Argon Matrix is the one who ended up winning the deep dive category. So, here we are, probably over 100 attempts deep. This is my record run. Well, not really, but I didn't record the other one, I was just messing around and I got a slightly better time. No matter though. As we go through this run, I'm going to pause whenever I need to explain something, why I did something, why I chose to buy a certain item in the shop, so that you can understand my thinking through the whole thing. Yes, this is a speedrun guide. So, first thing you're gonna see me do, I'm going to throw away the rusty sword immediately because it is absolutely useless, and I'm going to move the pickaxe into its spot. You're not timed until you go into this first floor, so that time isn't taken out, so I get rid of as much as I can beforehand. Big question, at this first shop, what do we take? In every single shop, you're going to buy the dagger. If you can. If there's a dagger, you buy it over anything else. This is because you get a higher level dagger on earlier floors, and things like swords and clubs will be a lower level. For instance, here we have the Crystal Dagger, which is level 4. The Steel Small Sword and Wooden Blade are both level 2 weapons, if I remember correctly. The dagger will do more damage, and this stays true through the entire run. One of the things that can cause a reset is if I don't get a dagger on a certain floor, and it's a set of floors that is especially bad for that. So what we're going to be doing is prioritizing our special attack on every floor. You need to memorize how many hits every single enemy takes from all the weapons that you're going to be using. In this instance, I always save my special attack for a set of grubs, a slime, or a crab. Now, immediately here on floor 2, we get extremely lucky and get Shadow the Eternal Lurker. Your reward for beating this boss is a prismatic shard, which is a lot of money early on. One of the focuses on the speedrun, which might not be obvious, is that you want to get money early because that guarantees a strong and safe run. First of all, you can buy more items that increase your DPS, and second of all, you can buy the snake milk and stuff early on to get more HP and do more risky strats. Now, you could maybe save the rusty sword for this fight specifically if you want. It's easier to hit the fireballs that he shoots back with a sword than it is with a dagger, but I don't care about that, I just want to get it out of my inventory. So basically, this kickstarts a, for sure, good run. Ideally though, there is one challenge floor that gives you a slingshot. You can load that slingshot with gold ore, which does a substantial amount of damage, and you can bust through this fight in like 10 seconds. Unfortunately, I have never gotten lucky enough to get that before doing the fight, so no such luck here. And that's the fight. You will probably take a few hits, some of those attacks are very hard to avoid, so you gotta be careful, just don't die. Now here we get one of our first normal floors. No, yeah, this is a normal floor. As you're gonna see, if there's an enemy close to a wall, I won't use my special attack against it because with the dagger, you can combo slimes, grubs, pretty much anything that takes multiple hits. The flying bugs always take one hit, never use your special attack against them. You'll also notice that whenever I can, I will try to defeat an enemy on a spot that a staircase can drop. So here's Goobens, the first boss. What you want to do is hit it on its way down to this corner. It can't get past this corner, and so you can basically just get free hits constantly. This is a fantastic Goobens run. Unfortunately, it did back up a little there, so I did lose a little bit of time. 2 minutes and 38 seconds at Goobens is fantastic, especially when you consider that I got Shadow. You can get that number under 1 minute if you're very lucky. Here we have Gil's Gallery. We have 2 perks, Gemologist and Reflect. Reflect I never take if I have the option. Gemologist I always take if I have the option, especially early on. Like I said, getting more money earlier really enables a strong run. And I have a Prismatic Shard, so that combos beautifully, allowing me to sell my Prismatic Shard for, I want to say, 2,600 gold. So we basically have all the money that we could ever ask for at this point. 3,000 gold this early on. So Broken Trident is the best weapon that you can possibly get. I want to say the other weapon is the Dark Dagger. That's all right, but it's not as good as the Broken Trident. It lives up to its name. These 2 weapons you never want. This is a floor that I'll always reset if I don't get a dagger, because it makes that much of a difference, especially in the boss fight. I'm going to use my extra money to buy both the Vampire Ring and the Aquamarine Ring, so I have a little more DPS and a little more survivability. And I'm also going to go down and buy some Iridium Milk. And also, if you use animation canceling, you can cancel the feeling sick animation after drinking Iridium Milk, so that's important. Organize my inventory really quick here. I'm not fantastic at menuing, but I'm good enough. So, with the Broken Trident, you're going to be able to one-shot every single normal enemy except for slimes. Sometimes you can if you use the special attack, but most of the time you won't. That's why the Broken Trident is so essential. If bats try to fly at you, special attack, instantly dead. Ghosts can die in one special attack. There I got an early Aquamarine. I'm going to be saving that. You want as many Aquamarines as you can. And that brings me to my next topic while we have a little bit of downtime here. You want to get any perks that give you gems. This, by the way, is my least favorite floor to get in the entire game. It's very time consuming. It's basically a guaranteed 45-second floor. And there's no guarantee that you're going to get the best reward. Other challenges, you can use skill to win every single time. This one you can't really because it's slightly randomized. You never know where the golden egg is going to be that gives you 3 points, so you just kind of have to deal with it. Although this run is going so fantastically good with that early Shadow and Gemologist that I take it. Normally I would probably reset if the run has been iffy up to this point. If you want to get the diamond out of this, you need to get 20 eggs found, which is not a small task. I've only done that a few times. I just always make sure that I'm close to the exit whenever it spawns. Anyway, talking about perks again. Some of the best perks you can get, Gemologist, anything that increases luck, because you do need 3 Aquamarines before you fight Cavrag, which is boss 4 off the top of my head, maybe 5. And then any perks that give you a speed boost, any perks that strengthen critical hits, those are your top priority. All of the others, you can kind of use your own discretion. The attack buffs, obviously, you're going to want. Some of the defense buffs are really nice. Some of the others just kind of suck. So as I said, having a lot of HP in this fight really helps you out because Arc hits like a truck. So being able to take as many hits as you can is important. Broken Trident can one-shot all of the skeletons. That's why it's very important to have it for there. And of course, it does a lot more damage to Arc himself. I played a little risky here, got really low on HP, but I didn't have to use any healing items, so we take that. Go to the perks first. I got Immunity and Precision. Immunity isn't going to give us any DPS increase, so I go for Precision. Like I said, go for any critical hit buffs you can. Here we're given the option for the Wicked Chris, Obsidian Edge, and Wood Club. This is our first club, you'll notice, this late into the game. That's why we don't use clubs. And the Wicked Chris has a great critical hit rate, so we are going to be taking that, of course. And I'm leaving the Aquamarine, you'll notice. I'm going to take a Jade Ring. That can be good for combining with an Aquamarine Ring. I'm also going to take my first defense buff here with the Crystal Boots. And I am going to take the Jade Ring. Now that I have a good amount of defense, I probably won't need the Vampire Ring, so that'll further increase our DPS. So for these floors, there's a lot of enemies that are just going to take a lot of hits. Shadow Brutes will take a special attack and then 2 more hits from the Wicked Chris. Slimes are just incredibly bulky on these floors, and I'm not sure why. And of course, the helmet heads here are also very bulky. So you just kind of have to play this a lot safer than you normally would. Got a crit there. It one-shot the Shadow Brute. Already you're seeing the power of crits in this kind of run. It's very nice. Of course, I'm going to go for any gem that I find. Sometimes I'll skip them later on if I don't think I need the money, but especially since I have Gemologist, I am absolutely taking it. This is one of the best challenge floors you can get in the entire game. It's basically a speedrun floor. The faster you get to the end, the better your reward. Luckily, I didn't get slowed down by that slime here. I want to say that I'm probably going to get the diamond reward. Yeah, I think that's a diamond. Yeah. So you could see that was an incredibly quick floor, even faster than normal floors for the most part. So very advantageous to get that, especially with Gemologist. Here we have another normal floor, unfortunately. All right, coming up to the end of this floor, the next fight is going to be the boss Telesto. I will say, this is one of the first floors that I will accept not having a dagger on, because some of the weapons like the Ossified Blade is actually very strong against Telesto, mostly for the fact that the knockback that you get from swords that's normally detrimental to doing more damage is perfect for Telesto because he charges towards you every time you hit him. So the blade kind of balances that out and you won't be taking hits from Telesto. Most important thing here is just walk away from his explosions. Those slow you down, obviously you don't want that, and it's dead. 8 minutes and 3 seconds at Telesto. While it is a little slower than I kind of normally like, I like to be in the 7-minute range, the sheer amount of money that we have is going to make this run speed up very quickly near the end. I had Scout there. Scout increases your chance to get a critical hit. Of course I took it. And here I get the Lava Katana, Dark Sword, and Galaxy Dagger. Galaxy Dagger is the best possible choice for this floor. I want to say there's another dagger you can get here, but I don't remember what it is. Of course, I would take it if you could. Looks like I'm also going to take the Dragon Scale Boots. Those give the best defense buff in the game, and I like to have them for endgame. And I'm also going to grab our last Iridium Milk and a few more Life Elixirs. Just for a little detail, if you didn't know, Life Elixirs will always fully heal you, no matter what. Of course, I'm going to drink that Iridium Milk, and I'm going to skip out on the spa, maybe a little risky, but we take those. So the thing about the Galaxy Dagger is its special attack will, 9 times out of 10, one-shot the Serpents. That's very important. Always, when you're dealing with big slimes, try to get them towards a wall, because you don't know if they're going to drop more enemies, and if they do, you want to be prepared for that. I am going out of my way to try and break these open because at this point, I'm kind of hurting for Aquamarine, so I'm trying to get them as fast as I can. Here you can see me just making sure to cover the slimes. Really, they're one of the bulkiest enemies in the game. You just got to get them close to an edge. Always use your special attack on them if you can. I'd say first priority is probably the Serpents, and there we go. So, I've pretty much explained everything to do with the Skull Caverns. I'm going to speed through this as well. Right there you can see I was really struggling to get that slime into an open space so it could drop a staircase. Unfortunately, didn't succeed. So, here we have another challenge floor. This is one of my least favorites. It always takes as much time as it shows in the top left, so the whole 45 seconds you have to hold out for. That means this is taking at least 45 seconds, because you don't complete it until you knock out all of the enemies. If I get this floor early on, it's a reset, no doubt. However, this is late enough in the run, I'd say probably after you've played for like 10 minutes, I stop resetting from bad floors. This is one of those. The other bad floor, I don't recall if we encounter it in this run specifically, is the volcano floor, where you kind of need to play King of the Hill. It's just extremely slow. It's the longest lasting floor in the entire game, and even though the rewards are good, it's just way too slow to be able to make use of it. If I get 2 of those in a run, it's over. I reset right away. It's too tight to be doing that. So here you can see we've actually ran the timer all the way down, but unfortunately, I didn't get lucky enough to get easy enemy spawns, so we had to go a little bit over the end. This could have been a lot faster. Got a Ring of Yoba. I'm probably going to trash that. I don't see myself using that later. That's one of the more useless rings. Basically, if you're low HP, it gives you a good chance to not take damage from a hit. I don't care about that. The idea is to not get hit in the first place, so we don't care. I want to say this next floor is the boss. I'm going to break open these chests because, again, I need more aquamarines, and I don't have them. Yep, so this is Cavern. Basically, you're just going to hit it anytime it's not charging up an attack, and unfortunately I took a pretty big hit there. The attack that you're going to want the most is the charge attack, because you can actually counter it with a special attack from the dagger. Here, I'm going to show it off. I think a lot of people think that you can't knock it out of that charge. You can, so always try to use that special attack if you can. If you're really playing risky, you might want to use the sword special attack to just block it outright. That's one of the worst attacks that you can get. I hate that flamethrower. It forces you to get far away. As Cavrag's HP gets lower, it's going to use attacks more frequently. I was playing very scary in this run. This was not a fantastic Cavrag, I'll tell you that much. This is a good attack to get as well. The fireballs aren't too hard to avoid. As you can see, Cavrag's given me some trouble here, and I didn't stand far enough away to miss that flamethrower. One more attack and we should be able to clinch it out here. Boom. Also, Cavrag kind of stores any knockback that you give it while it's charging it up an attack. We got the perks Immunity and Reflect. Unfortunately, this is an awful choice. I believe I'm gonna take Immunity. No, I take Reflect. It increases my DPS a little bit. Immunity could be nice for some of the bosses coming up, but oh well. So, big thing here. We got the Iridium Needle. This is the best weapon in the game, so obviously I'm gonna take that. There is a little bit of an asterisk there. It's only the best weapon in the game if you have a good chance to get a critical hit. Otherwise, there's another dagger called the Dragon Tooth Dagger. That's what you would take if you have a bad setup for critical hits. I have a pretty good one going because I do have an aquamarine ring and I do have an aquamarine sitting here, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Iridium Needle, of course. And you'd always take it over the other 2 weapons anyway, so we take that. And I'm going to grab the Jade Ring for a little bit more critical hit damage, and then the Life Elixirs for more safety. I stayed on that menu a little longer than I should have. I forgot what armor I was wearing, so I was trying to check real quick. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go over and use the spa here. Yeah, because we're cutting it a little close on HP. Moving on to the next set of floors, this is going to be the Dangerous Mines. The biggest enemy here is the squids. If you have a high enough crit chance, you can probably one-shot everything here with your special attack. I don't have that yet because the next floor is actually going to be the Forge floor. It always is, always floor 26. And then there's always one after the next boss as well, so if you don't get everything you want, you're good. Most enemies here take a similar amount of hits, mostly because you're going to be so souped up on power at this point. So immediately combining the Vampire Ring and the Jade Ring, just because those are the only options that I have at that point, and I'm going to be combining the Aquamarine and the Jade Ring that I currently have equipped. Of course, I'm also putting the Aquamarine on the Iridium Dagger, and I'm leaving the other slots open. I don't have other gems, but even if I had like rubies or something, which would increase damage, I wouldn't give it to that Iridium Needle on the hopes that I'd get an Aquamarine later on to forge in the next forge. So there we go. Your big barrier to having a good run or not is going to be utilizing this forge, because if you don't get any buffs on your weapons, don't combine any rings, you're gonna have a really rough time. I'm basically prioritizing finding aquamarines at this point. It is going to be such a DPS increase, especially for the Iridium Needle, which has a lot more critical damage than any other weapon in the game, that it's the #1 priority. You don't need to prioritize what you use your special attack on. Got really lucky here. That was a spa floor. Those can only spawn before bosses. It's a freebie floor, so you take those. You don't want it earlier on when you're trying to get more money, but this late on when you're just trying to skip through, you're good. So this is Otis the Hive Mother. This can go very badly or it can go very well depending on your critical hit rate. Unfortunately, I have a pretty low critical hit rate, so this probably isn't going to be the best run. I got really lucky earlier on with getting a few crits, but not so far. Also, you really want to make note of what color the small grubs that are flying around are. They're orange right now, which means that they can easily two-shot me. If I get unlucky, they will deal enough damage to two-shot, so need to be careful about that. If they're black as well, you also want to really avoid them because they will install a debuff, which could instill a debuff, which, you know, could be blindness, could be slow, could be jinxed. You don't want that. That's very dangerous. And of course, finishing it off here, you do need all the other grubs to hit you. Luckily, they were red, so they would die immediately on impact with me, so I just took the impacts. Perks here, immunity and Rabbit's Foot. I'm taking Rabbit's Foot immediately because I need aquamarines. Rabbit's Foot is one of the best perks you can get on floor 1. Dragon Tooth Shiv, here it is. That's your second best weapon. I'm not taking it because I don't need it. I do take the Slammer just for a little bit of extra damage while my Iridium Needle is still cooling down on its special attack. You can still use the special attack bug, exploit, I don't know, with the clubs. That's why I took it. Here's another kind of challenge floor. Defeat as many waves of monster as you can before the time limit's up. I hate this one. It's a minute-long minimum every single time. I never usually have problems getting the diamond out of this one. You just need to kill 5 waves. Luckily, I have a pretty good build going right now because of the forge options that I took, but it's just going to be a lot of waiting around. This is one of the slower ones that you can get. Also, unfortunately, I got nauseous here. I pretty much use my special attack here on spiders. I try to prioritize the spiders because they jump around. These are the hardest floors in the game. Spiders make it awful. Get those spiders out in one go if you can. So at this point, I'm pretty much just waiting around for the time limit to go out. I leave one enemy alive that's easy to avoid, and I'll wait around near the exit so that I can get out of here as fast as possible. You don't need to put yourself in more danger than you do. This is why these floors suck. Luckily, there is an aquamarine there that I spot, so we got very, very lucky for the second forge. That's going to be very beneficial. Bats can be knocked out with one special attack. Here's the thing. Every single enemy at this point can be knocked out with a special attack if you get lucky with the critical hits. So you don't need to worry about prioritizing your special attacks at this point, even more so than before. It's important to note, if enemies die on these dirt paths, they will not spawn a staircase. And I didn't specify it earlier, but if they're like behind a front side, they'll also not get a staircase. This is a really lucky room to get on these sets of floors. Here's the thing. If you manage to get a few floors that skip a floor in this section, you're set. These are the longest lasting floors in the entire game due to the spiders and just the sheer amount of the mushroom enemies that spawn, which are replacements for dust sprites, which spawn in hordes. So you really need to be lucky here if you want to get through, and luckily I got a really good floor here. Here's another great floor, very tiny, and you spot that little aquamarine in the bottom left. That means we now have a practically perfect run going. This is Hachi the Queen Bee. She is one of the less imposing bosses. She doesn't really do much that can really kill you fast. She does do enough damage to where you can maybe not be knocked out in 3 or 4 hits. So once you get into that orange area, I'd recommend healing up, but she's easy to knock out. If she starts charging at you, time your special attack to hit her in the middle of it. If she starts shooting needles, sorry, that sucks. And of course, if she spawns a lot of enemies, you do have to knock out all the enemies to move on. All right. 2 more sets. We have Discount and Geologist. This choice doesn't matter. I don't even know what I choose. Yeah, I choose Discount. Ooh, triple shot espresso. Okay, that's important. That's a permanent speed buff right there. If you find that in the shop, please buy it. That'll give you such an advantage. And of course, 3 life elixirs for more bulk. Always useful. And I got the Cinder Clown shoes. Here's why I did that. This next boss can inflict Jinx on you. And if that happens, you can be two-shot. So you need to be very careful with this. So here, of course, I'm just going to give my Iridium Needle 2 more critical hit chance buffs, and we've got the perfect build now. There's a few perks that we could have gotten that would have made this better, Desperado being one of them. And in fact, I want to say Desperado is probably the only thing. No, I could have also gotten Swift. Those 2 perks would have made this a bit of a faster run. So as always, there's a ton of room for improvement. When it comes to like beating this, like the lowest possible time, sub 20 minutes is easily possible. I guess I've kind of spoiled that this isn't below 20 minutes. That's a freebie floor. That's the floor that you can get the slingshot. If you're early on, that's one of the best floors to get because it's an easy challenge. It's only 45 seconds. It's an easy diamond. You just need to wipe out, I want to say 5 groups of shadow brutes. Or no, those are wilderness golems. And then you get to keep the slingshot. And if you get lucky, you'll find shadow. So this is the second to last boss. This is probably the scariest of all of them due to the immunity debuff and the fact that you can also be inflicted with blind, which can slow down your attacks. So Shadow King has 2 forms, the main difference being the size of the explosion and the spawning of the like few dozen shadow brutes that shoot, shadow archers, I suppose they're called. They're not too big of a problem. The explosion is a problem because that deals more than half of your HP even without the immunity debuff. Not the immunity debuff, the Jinx debuff. I got really lucky here. I got tons of critical hits. This is where you can really see the critical hit build coming in clutch. I'm not taking a chance on a run this far in. So I heal and try to damage boost for the rest of it, and he's gone. 20 minutes, 48 seconds. That is an indication that this is a fantastic run. Perks, I got Brute and Swift. I should have taken Swift there. I should not have taken Brute. I saw Brute and I was like, oh, that's one of the better perks I can get. Immediately clicked it. I should have taken Swift. That would have gave me a speed boost and we would have been absolutely zooming. At this point, the only thing I really buy is health increases. You can buy the Roots Platter if it's available, but I usually don't. This is one of the better floors to get if you don't get the enemies at the end, which I did here. You hate to see it. Normally it's just a free 6-second long floor. We love to take these. And also, since we haven't seen a lot of the challenge floors, I'll explain how bad they are. Actually, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I think the only one we didn't get was the volcano floor, which, as I said, is awful and almost a for sure reset no matter what if I get it in the first half of my run. I might be forgetting one of the kinds of challenges, but I don't think I am. Anyway, these are the Dangerous Skull Caverns. These are the floors that you're always going to encounter forever from now on, even if you go even deeper. It's not that intimidating. The biggest worry, I'd say, are the Royal Serpents, which can do a lot of damage. If you get the Iridium Bats, those also can deal like a third of your HP and knock you out in 3 hits. Squid Kids do take multiple hits at this point, important to keep in mind. Dinosaurs are probably one of the easier ones to take out. Again, like I said before for the earlier set of floors, if you get lucky with critical hits, a special attack one-shots any enemy in the game. So keep that in mind. Maybe, nope, that includes the slimes as well. Also, if you're wondering if you should try to save before we get into the final boss here, if you're wondering if you should try to save a prismatic shard for enchanting a weapon, don't. It's not worth it. You're never going to get your time out of that you spent saving that prismatic shard. Don't worry about it. I think the best possible one that you could get is Acrobat, but it's not that much of an advantage this late into the game. If you were able to do that way earlier, yeah, sure, but don't worry about it at this point. So this is not the Extinct. There's one thing that you need to watch out for here, and that's the giant fireballs. Those deal the most damage in this entire fight. Things you can ignore, the small fireballs, and the bombs that it throws out. He's almost dead here. It is a very quick kill. Nath the Extinct is probably the least intimidating monster, and you want to note, even though it says defeated up here on the top right, or not the top right, but the top, that's not your final time. Your final time is whenever you go through this ladder staircase. You can get extremely unlucky and just lose 30 seconds because the staircase just won't spawn on this floor. That might be fixed in a future update. I don't know. You'll notice that this is 1.0.17. That update will probably be obsolete in a few weeks. I don't know. You need to go through that staircase as fast as you can. I made a mistake here going for the gold ore just out of habit. So my final time here was 22 minutes, 51 seconds. That is a lucky run. As you can probably tell, it wasn't perfect. Not even close. There's many floors that I could have gotten that could have made that easier. I could have gotten a really strong weapon from one of the challenge floors, but I never did. I could have gotten, any number of things. I could have gotten my aquamarines for the first forge instead of the second forge. I could have gotten a Shadow after I got the slingshot. The possibilities are practically endless here. I could have gotten a spa floor before every single boss. I don't know the chances of that. It's probably really, really low. So don't stop trying to beat this time, because it's not impossible. And yeah, those you submit these to TheHaboo to make sure that it's like proper. And so I put "yeah baby" in the bottom left, because why not? Anyways, thank you for watching. That's how I made $100. This was the winning run for the speedrun category. Thank you all for watching. If you want to see other stuff relating to this mod, again, I have that other video that I made. Otherwise, thanks for watching. See you in the next one, and good night.